Hi guys. So tonight I'm going to be talking to you about something that's probably very common. You've all experienced it, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to deal with it and the steps you can take to stand up for yourself and to um, not take any more crap and get walked all over. So I'm talking about people that are those ones that are so aggressive and inappropriately aggressive in inappropriate circumstances. Usually they're not people that you work with. They're not acquaintances. Usually they're going to be family. They're going to be close friends. They're going to be people who are close to you. So in children, we call it, so for you guys who follow me and know me, you know that I'm a healthcare provider, but you know that I do have a history with forensic psychology and forensic science, and I've worked with the police with it. And I've got a lot of experience with this, but I do have a lot of personal experience with dealing with two individuals like this as well. And I've learned to master these techniques, although it's very difficult to do. I first learned to master them professionally, and then I was able to take it into my personal life, and it worked. Okay. So, and I didn't know if it would work in my personal life. I knew it worked professionally, but personally, I wasn't sure. But it absolutely worked. So I thought it would be valuable to share it with you because there's nothing worse than these people. So with children, we call it aggressive conduct disorder. So until they're about 12 or 13, but typically it can go to 18. I swear to God, aggressive conduct disorder pours into adulthood. I've seen it, I've experienced it, but technically and scientifically, no, it ends at like 12 or 13 years old. And then it becomes an antisocial personality disorder. Okay. But the features of it are more of aggressive conduct disorder. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you what you're looking at here. And you already know probably these are the people who you have to walk on broken glass around. You have to tiptoe around them. You can't say anything that they don't like because they will climb down your throat. They will jump all over you. They will call you names. They can't keep to the subject or the topic. They have to bring up everything. They will overwhelm you in circles with every problem they've ever had with you and insult you with everything they possibly can to avoid sticking to a topic and to avoid having a conversation and discussing things. So there's only one way to deal with these people. And first of all, you can't stick to one topic and try and argue it, first of all, without applying some of what I'm going to teach you first. And I'm going to teach you how to focus them and how to narrow them down to specific topics so that you can argue one topic at a time. Not even argue, you can explain yourself, make your feelings at least known, and then you can walk away because there's nothing else you can do. You can't fix these people. And truthfully, they can't fix themselves either because this is something that I believe is genetic. I know it's triggered by different chemicals in the brain, and it's a disorder, like it's a legitimate disorder. And when you start seeing these symptoms in somebody who will be angry with you for something little, like they'll insult you or make like they'll walk in and say something like, "Oh, like haven't you vacuumed?" And you could say, "Yeah, like I just vacuumed yesterday, but like I've got like donkeys or cats or dogs or whatever." And they'll be like, "Oh, you vacuumed yesterday." "Sure you did. I talked to you yesterday and you didn't say anything about vacuuming." And then they'll start going in circles about stuff. It's that ridiculous. These adults are that ridiculous and that off base that they'll argue about anything because I believe it continues as an aggressive conduct disorder into adulthood, but it is a personality disorder. So we'll go by the DSM and we'll call it personality disorder. Anyways, what you got to do is you got to calm them down. You got to narrow them down. And I have some notes. So the first thing for you, the most important thing is to stay calm and composed. The louder somebody else gets, okay, the more in your face and screaming and yelling they get, the only way for you to appropriately combat that and have any hope of calming the situation down is for you to talk quieter and more slowly. So that sends them a passive message of being calm and composed. They won't even recognize it, but they have to listen more carefully if they want to hear you. And they have to hear you to be able to attack you further because they need your response and they need to validate themselves that you're getting upset. Because if you're not getting upset, then there's no point to their attack. And you'll find if they don't feel like you're responding and getting upset, they'll say something so horrible, so abusive, or they'll get physically aggressive, which is a different situation. And I'll make a video about that one day. That's different. At this point, if someone's physically aggressive, you just call 911 and get them the hell out of there. But nonetheless, most of the time, they'll just say something terrible and walk out and slam the door and say, F you. I hate you. You're a piece of crap. You're garbage. You're shit. You're a terrible mother. You're a terrible, whatever, human being. Like, they'll say something awful and they'll slam the door and leave because they need the validation of you getting upset to keep them going. Okay. So the more loud they are, don't forget this. It's the most important way and mechanism and feature for you to use. The louder and more aggressive they are, the more slowly and quietly you speak. And it will annoy the fuck out of them, but they also have to be quiet to hear you, okay? So secondly, you're going to avoid escalating the situation by listening to them, and you're going to pretend you understand their perspective. So give a lot of that feedback, that understanding feedback. Nod your head, even if they're saying awful things about you. You're such a slut. You're such a horrible this and that. Look at you. You look like a tramp, or you're filthy. Clean up, brush your hair, like put some makeup on. You look like a slob, or any of these things. Like, don't you work out? You look like you're fat. Like, these are these people we're dealing with, okay? So acknowledge it. Be like, I understand where you're coming from, or I understand why you would have those feelings. And you don't even need to necessarily speak. If you get the opportunity, those are the words I would use, is I understand why you would feel that way, or I understand what would make you think that. So those are the words. But all you have to do really is take a passive body stance, which means stepping back. Don't be like in your face and like this, because you're going to get punched in the face. So step back, take a passive stance, and just shake your head in agreement, understand, and act like you're acknowledging their feelings and that you are in agreement. And I know these things don't sound right. These sound against everything that you've been taught and that you've learned about standing up for yourself and drawing boundaries, but we're going to draw those boundaries and stand up for ourselves after you complete these steps. Okay. So after you've listened to their perspective, you're going to acknowledge their feelings. And if you need to, if they don't stop, I would say to them, I think, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. And I understand you're really upset right now, and I want to have this conversation with you, but I think we need 5 minutes. Like, let's take 5. Let's just take 5. And then we'll continue talking, because I feel like I need to calm down, even if you're perfectly calm. And I think it would be helpful for all of us. Don't ever say you. Say all of us. Say, I would calm down better. Use I statements. I feel better. It would feel better if I calmed down a little bit, had a few minutes to compose myself. You've just told me a lot. It's a lot to take in, and I need to compose myself. And, I think it'll be best for all of us, for everybody involved, to take 5. Okay? This is where it gets fun, because this is where you're going to flip the fucking table and you're going to put your boundaries down. So you're going to stand up for yourself, and this involves expressing your thoughts and being assertive. Okay? Which, it's going to feel dangerous and it's going to be scary, but you've taken all the right steps to calm somebody down, and sometimes they won't work, in which case you're going to let them walk out the door and call you a bad name and slam the door and walk out, and you've done all you can. This has nothing to do with you. This has to do with a biological disorder that they're suffering with, and that's a them problem, not a you problem. You're just trying to deal with it in the moment to make them go away, is what we're doing here. So then you're going to clearly communicate your boundaries by using I statements. You're going to say I. And like I said to you before, don't ever say you things like, I don't want you talking to me that way, or I'm not going to put up with you treating me this way anymore. You're going to use I statements. You're going to say, I don't feel like I want to be spoken to like this anymore. Or I've been reflecting on conversations like this lately, and I don't feel like it's fair to me. Or I don't feel like it benefits me. Or things like that. Things of this nature. I use I statements. Don't ever use you statements. Don't ever direct anything at them. You're going to keep it surrounding yourself because you're taking care of you now. Okay? You're going to practice self-empowerment by using a confident posture at this point. This is where you can stand up a little straighter. I wouldn't ever take a step forward. Always, if you're going to stand up straighter and have a confident posture, always step back. The other thing you need to do is always pay attention to what your hands are doing. Keep your palms forward. People don't know what it means. They don't recognize it consciously. But subconsciously, if your palms are forward, you're not arguing, you're not holding back, you're open, and you're open to their feelings and open to acknowledging what they're saying. And you're not in protective mode. It also leads to them sensing your level of confidence because you're not standing here like this, like you need to protect yourself, because people know what this means. Every idiot knows that this means you're in protective mode, that you feel threatened and you're trying to protect yourself. Don't give them that. Stand open with an open posture. Stand tall. Keep your palms forward so you don't look like you feel threatened and you need protection. And what else do I have here? And just be assertive without being aggressive. So there is to be no aggression on your part, period. Stick to not the conversation that's being had and the points being made, because you can't argue with someone saying you're such a slut or you're such a slob, like get a job, or like, stop living with your mom and dad, or stop, like, whatever it is they have to say. You suck at your job, or you suck at work, you look like a slob, you're always in a tracksuit every time I see you. Like, you can't argue with these people. Their points are not relevant. They mean absolutely nothing. They have a mental illness and they have a behavioral issue. Even if they don't have the mental illness portion of it, they have a behavioral issue, and you can't fight that. That's their problem. And, like, let them have it, because it's not going to serve them well in life, and shit comes back around. So just don't worry about that. But this is where you've done your calming, you've done your distancing by letting them acknowledge themselves and get it all out. You've distanced yourself from the issue, and by letting them have that, and now you're going to keep your posture straight. Keep relaxed, keep your palms forward. I would always keep your body on a bit of an angle. And keeping your body on a bit of an angle sends an indirect message that, and it's not so you can dodge a punch either, but I mean, you can dodge a punch if your body's sideways. But it also shows that you're not engaging in their garbage and in their conversation and in their points, but you're still allowing them access to you. So you're half facing them, you're half not. And I forget the name of this posture, but this is a scientifically proven posture to address and to utilize as a tool when you're dealing with people with these behavioral and mental health issues, with these personality disorders and these aggressive combative behavioral problems. So keep your body on the angle, and use your I statements, and stand up tall, but don't ever move towards them, and lean back just a tiny little bit. So you're leaning back, but not like you're scared of them, just leaning back because it shows a confident posture, and it shows that you're not, like, engaged and you care so much. If you're leaning forward, you care so much about what's going on. You care so much about what you're saying. You need them to know you really don't give two shits. You really just want this to be over. But you're doing it in a really polite, really intelligent, and above them manner. And you're working here worlds above these people right now, because they're like way down here and you're like way up here. You're thinking logically, you're thinking intellectually, you're thinking academically, and you are scientifically de-escalating a situation, and they don't even know what you're doing. They just think you're reacting, and you're not reacting at all. That's the point, is to not react. It's to respond. And you're responding, not reacting, by doing all these things. So hopefully this was helpful. If you're interested in this, leave me a comment and I can get into, I couldn't do a whole video and get into all the details of it, but for instance, the posturing, the body mechanics, like the body like the body language you're using, that kind of stuff. I could do a whole video on body language, on dealing with people like this and showing assertiveness in a non-threatening, non-aggressive way. I could do a whole video on reading micro expressions on people's faces for you, and that's how you know when they're lying, because they're saying one thing, but their micro expressions with their eyes and even like a show of contempt that flashes across their mouth in half a second can tell you that they're angry and they're lying. And I can make videos focused on these things, but they'd be long, so I'd have to pick one feature at a time. So if you're interested, guys, let me know. I'd love to make them. This is my stuff. This is what I do. And this is what I'm like a professional in. So I'd love to share. And I've made a few of these videos before, but I'm not sure what the response was. But so I'm just, thought I'd give it another shot because it was on my mind tonight. So why not? I love to share what's on my mind. So I hope everyone has a fantastic night. Don't forget, if you enjoy my content, to give me a like, give me a subscribe, share my videos with others, share my video with someone who's got an aggressive behavioral problem, because that'll be a slap in the face. But don't share it. I'm kidding. They'll come for you. They really will. Anyways, have a great night, guys, and I will see you soon.